It was so funny that we really weren't sure what we wanted to cover today and this week. So today is October 7th, and on Monday of this year, 2021, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp all went down. And all three of those companies are owned by Mark Zuckerberg. And I didn't realize that he owns 55% of all of those. And there is no one else that can rein him in if something's going on. And this came right after some major revelations were revealed by a whistleblower over at Facebook. And so I wanted us to go on ahead and talk about this because Facebook being down, so it didn't negatively impact me, but there are some countries, there are some people where that was their only way to communicate with their audience. That was their only way to sell their product or to market their business. And they took major hits that day. Facebook itself, I believe, lost billions in one day because the stock went down, and I'm sure it started to go back up. I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure it did because that's what things do within the market. But I thought it was important for us to talk about diversifying your platforms, diversifying your business, and not being reliant on just one thing. And this might easily lead into multiple streams of income, but we will see where this conversation goes.
Wow, that is powerful. The thing that I'll say is anytime you only have one way to do something, once that way dries up, regardless to the reason, everything dries up, right? So that is the key. The key is if you're not diversified. Now we're talking about relationships. I can't get all my energy in one place. I'm talking about spiritually, that I listen to more than one voice. I know what my basis is. I know what my values are. So I just don't listen haphazardly, but I diversify. I'm diversified personally. There's more than one facet of Johnny, right? So that is the beauty of diversification. It gives you, I don't want to say a sampling, it gives you a facet of more than one. It gives you a stream, so it gives you the opportunity to continue to flow even when one of your dams are blocked. And that is so important. So I like the way you started that. And I like the way that you talked about, Patrice, about the fact that the stock jumped, right? It dropped and now it's probably going to go back up. However, some people looking at it now like and saying, wow, what just happened?
Because some people joined other platforms. Some people, maybe they had been ignoring Twitter, maybe they weren't on TikTok, maybe they weren't on Clubhouse. So, and then there are some people that really have already left Facebook and Instagram, and they found out on other platforms. And eventually, I think in this conversation, or maybe in the next conversation, because some of the big things that came out was the impact of social media on people's mental health. And I personally, as a licensed psychologist, I believe that anything can become addictive. Anything can be overused or misused. It doesn't really matter. But there are some aspects of algorithms, there are some aspects of things, especially when thinking about young people like children and teens, that we know some of the impact that it can have. I'm still for teaching them how to safely use it. So I'm not one that says, get rid of everything. I do think that at times we need to definitely shut it off. So with the people that I work with, I encourage them to, because if my notifications are on while I'm asleep and I get that email, you get that ding, like my brain is going to wake up and be like, wait a minute, I got to see it. Like we have become conditioned to look at these things. And so, because I saw over on, I think once Facebook was back up, or maybe it was on Twitter, somebody was like, how many of y'all were still trying multiple times, even though you knew it was down, because it was a habit. And habits are something that we do over and over again. I personally wasn't negatively affected. I actually was more productive, and it was a good thing, because when I am procrastinating, and I'm Dr. Barry and I procrastinate. When I'm procrastinating, I will go to social media, and Facebook is just easy. Like, it's right on my computer. So I might hop on Instagram. And so not having those, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to get some stuff done. And I was actually more productive without it.
Wow. And this is the thing. It connects me back to what happened to me when I went to Mexico. When I went to Mexico, I was literally basically cut off from social media platforms and from my internet and from all of that stuff. And even though I let all my businesses, all of my clients know that that was an issue and that I would not be available, I felt like people were calling me. I felt like I was missing something. I felt those things, right? So it was messing with me mentally before I could shut down. Here I am in this space, in this new location. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It was in the jungle, though. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that it was in the jungle. However, it was absolutely one of the best places I've ever been in my life. So what I had to deal with is it took me time to shut it down. So people yesterday on Monday, when they were dealing with that, they didn't have enough time to really shut it down. So they were still thinking, I need it, I need it, I need it. It was like hitting their arm, like, I need this fix. I need this. So if you found yourself like that in a place, you don't want to be in that situation where you notice what I said, needed. It's not that everything is a tool. So as Facebook is not a problem, Instagram is not a problem, social media is not the issue, is how those tools are being used in your life. And I love it that you kind of shifted us to the mental aspect of it. If we don't cover that today, we really need to tap into that, because it does tap into who we are and what we think about ourselves. Am I good? Waiting for a person to like it or whatever. All of those, that there's so many dynamics in that. I include myself, we need to make sure that we're okay with being okay. Go ahead.
I like that. And I think that will definitely have to be part 2. Today, I wanted to focus on people making sure that they have their own website. If they are doing major things if they have this side business, if you're doing things, make sure that you're collecting your customers' emails. Because if you have their emails and you're normally engaging with them on a platform, and that platform for some reason goes down. So we do not own the platform. So when I post on TikTok, when I post on Instagram, Facebook, any other social media, that company could decide, Dr. Barry, nope, we're deleting your account, we're deleting your profile, and now I'm working to get it back. But if that's my only way to engage with my audience, and I don't have a website, I don't have an email address, I don't have these other things. And really, I learned this from Ida to Every Mom and Robert Blackman and T over in our TikTok talks room over on Clubhouse. And so being able to diversify your platform and not just be reliant on 1 or 2 social media apps. And so if you're posting on YouTube, making sure that you're archiving some of your own data just in case something happened to your channel. Because I've heard of people getting hacked. So not even the platform taking it down,
Right.
but people's accounts getting hacked and somebody going in and deleting all of their items. And that can be, when this is your livelihood, when this is, a major part, and you've put so much time and effort into it, it can really cause a lot.
Yeah, and what I like is when you look at that is how much of you do you have control over? So if you're going to come in and you're going to hand your whole life to a platform or platforms, then they have control over your well-being, your mental, emotional, financial well-being. You do not want that to happen. So I love what you're saying. And you're right. I remember when that happened to Ida. I remembered that. I remember being in the room and saying, what? And we're not talking about she had 5 followers. We're talking about
200,000 at that time. I think she's up more, but I think at the time she had 200,000 followers.
so it's like losing 200,000. I mean, that's major. So this is the other thing. When it is a platform that you don't control, and we don't control the platforms, right? It's always well to diversify. When you purchase stocks, you don't purchase just one stock, you diversify your portfolio. When you are looking at your livelihood or even your enjoyment, because some people, this is not your livelihood, this is your enjoyment, but you don't want to feel like you just got all of your fun taken away from you and you have no way to get back to the people that we call friends on social media, right? So whatever you're doing, you want to have more than one way to tap into people. But let's be more specific. A lot of us are generating resources through these social media platforms. So when you do that, you want to have, whether it be you captured their email through email, through a gift that you gave them, you captured their email through I think it's MailChimp or some other platform where you captured their email. That way you can send out, because it's a platform, right? You can send out something and say, hey, da 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 is happening. Don't know if you know. However, I'll be back with you as soon as they get back up. That way it puts the onus, not that you're trying to blame, you're giving information to inform your valuable people that are connected to you what's going on.
And to me, if you have their email, I can say, hey, here's if you do need to get in touch with me, or if you did want to place an order, or if you need an update on an order, here's how you can reach me, because there are other ways that I can collect payment besides on my website. So I use Stripe and Square. So I can go to one of those and send you an invoice and then still have it right on track to mailing out the product, which is why I'm glad I never thought about it that way. I'm glad that I'm not only selling my book on Amazon, because there are some people that only, and Amazon, they're not going to take things down. Like they're Bezos is trying to make money. Like I don't know, but I think it's good to have other options, to have multiple options, because when I need a bulk order of my book, if I go through Amazon, they take their time. But then if I go through 48-hour books, I know I can have it within 4 days, possibly 3 days, depending on how the order is placed. And so I think problem solving, I think people aren't good. I think we need to continue to learn and develop some of those problem solving things, because I think the obstacle, the barrier, the thing that gets stuck in your way, I think sometimes people can just almost shut down and kind of give up. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, this is a problem. How can I still reach my goal? Or do I take a minute to rest? So that was part of what I did. It was like, oh, I was going to create some content over on Instagram. I wasn't even able, like the app was messing up. I wasn't able to create. I don't think my app was having issues. It's like, okay, you can't do this. So I was like, I'll go over to TikTok, I'll work on my notes, I'll do these other things. And it was okay. It really was okay.
This is interesting you were talking about this, because what I was reading this morning in my quiet time, they were talking about a racehorse, right? They said, watch what happens in a racehorse. With racehorses, the ones that are getting hit to go faster are the ones out in front. So when you find something in your life, and when I say hit,
I know.
saying, you know what I'm saying?
don't hurt the horse.
I'm sorry. Those were being motivated to run faster, were in the front of the line. They weren't the ones behind, and that's the way we should do in our life. There are some things that are disruptions in our life, and sometimes we have to stop, wait a minute, think, and breathe. That's what happened. So you can be more I'm going to say productive in your space when you stop for a minute and say, critical think, and say, okay, now what am I going to do? Because some people yesterday are going, Monday when it happened, didn't have some things set up. For those people, I'm believing, and notice what I said, I'm believing that they're going to structure something for the future, not because they're expecting it to happen again, but because they got caught off guard. And when you get caught off guard, what you do is you look at it and you problem solve and you say, okay, now how can I not get caught back in this? Or is it, what is the situation? What can I do? Now, what can they do? What can I do? Now, you made a statement earlier, and I'm going to do I would like to touch it. Mark Zuckerberg is trying to make money too. Something happened, and they decided, they made a conscious decision about what happened.
To shut everything down.
They shut everything down. Now there's two things in that. Because he was empowered, he had the ability to make that decision, right? So he made a decision. What decisions are we not making in our lives that we are empowered to make that will impact our future, right? He shut something down because he was shutting down the reel that was going to play, and he didn't like what was about to get played, right? And so something happened.
You're right, because it kind of changed the narrative. It changed the story. The story became Facebook was down, and not because she had because she testified on Tuesday as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he changed, exactly, because the big story became being shut down and everybody stopping and and what were they thinking? And it moved the information from one thing to another. And that's what so many people do, not just in business, in the political arenas, in the every arena. Somebody says, well, who can be the bigger event? And the bigger event now gets the spotlight. So you miss the underlying things. So my point for saying that is this: don't just look at the cream on the top. Just don't look at what social media, we talking about newscasters, all that. Don't just look at what they give you. Don't take what they're feeding us. Look at the things that apply to you and will have an impact in your life, and make different decisions.
And I do want to mention why. So TikTok is like, your mom is invisible today. So I had a COVID exposure on Monday. And so I'm not seeing people face to face. Just giving it, I already tested negative. I'm going to test again. Likely on Sunday, unless I'm believing I'm not going to have any symptoms. But yeah, yep, Zoe.
But tell them I missed them. Tell them I missed them.
So TikTok, she misses you all. All right. I am fine. And that's why. So right now for in person, some of the precautions that I have is I wear a mask and they wear a mask. But I'm not comfortable seeing people face to face right now, outside of my poor family who is like, hey, yeah, but believing that it'll be fine. But yeah, so that's why we are not together. And I think that's what, having that crisis plan. So nobody thought that for 6 hours, nobody thought the platforms, all three. So like, I think Facebook has had glitches for like maybe an hour or something. Like there's been times, but all three platforms going down for 6 hours, that had never happened. And I think WhatsApp is one of the largest, like WhatsApp is a large platform globally.
And the other thing that may come out of this, even because every decision, we're not responsible for the reactions to a decision that we make, right? So what happened is someone made a decision to be a whistleblower. Then somebody made a decision to cut everything off, right? Then there's going to be a rollout on this. because then what's going to happen is they were already saying he had too much power.
Yeah.
They were saying he had too much of the market he could control. So he just shut down with one decision. Hear me. Millions, I mean, millions and millions and millions of people were being impacted by this. The whole globe. Let me be more specific. Everybody on the globe has one of those platforms, unless they're an infant. Everybody else probably got them. Everybody else got them. But my point for saying that is that power is something he utilized to stop something he thought was the best decision. I don't personally. I think it is very important for anybody to have that much power, to have some mentors, to have some confidants, to have somebody speaking life, even when you're about to go off the edge, to say, you know what? That's a 100,000-foot drop. He
And
said,
also,
well, I can afford to lose the money. It ain't about the money. It's deeper than that.
And also somebody that they're accountable to. Like that was a lot. That was a lot. And then unfortunately, I'm not sure, because of the way he's portrayed. I do not know him personally. I cannot speak, but from how he is portrayed, I have concerns about whether he cared, what his empathy is. So there are people that lost money that they cannot get back. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are people that are dependent and reliant on the service. And once again, I hope that they find ways to, and the other platforms. So Twitter was laughing, TikTok laugh, everybody, all the other platforms were like, hey, come on over. Come
That's
on
right.
This way. We're working just fine.
Yeah. And that's the key. That's the key. When something like that, because now some people that weren't looking for an opportunity are saying, I need to do this, right? And so the other thing is that it teaches me about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is where the empathy is and all of that. But this is what I would also look at. I would look at anything that's coming out of Facebook, out of his camp, because something is going to come out of his camp as an apology that may offer an opportunity for others, right? Because he doesn't want to lose the people that are on his platform, because it's connected to advertising dollars and so much more. So consider that. And if you keep your ears and eyes open, if you're using those platforms, because there may be an opportunity that comes out of that decision to put a Band-Aid on you because you got hurt. Okay. There may be, hear me.
That's true. There will probably be some like class action law. There might be some lawsuits and things, but there's probably something in the terms. Who reads all the terms and conditions?
Nobody. You know, number one, they make them 50 page. I mean, I'm being facetious a little bit. They make them so long, and then you scan through them, and then the next time they said we did an update, look at the work, and they could have changed anything. But it's not about that. It's not just the class action lawsuits and all of that. He may do something to say, hey, what I want to do is give, if y'all want to do advertising, free advertising on Facebook or some platform, something like that may come out to help build your business. And even if people were not directly impacted, if something like that comes out and you think it would help your bottom line or your reach, don't forget to use it. Don't just use it. Well, I wasn't impacted. No, if it's offered and there's an opportunity in the midst of this in the midst of this situation, then consider that, because in every adversity is a seed of equal or greater opportunity. So just keep that in mind.
That is so good. And I think that being able to step back away from it. And so I do hope that people enjoyed the peace, the quiet, I don't really need to know what my aunt in Texas is cooking tonight. Like, okay, like I did okay without this. And so I just wonder how it's going to impact people's usage. It probably went back. It's kind of like Chick-fil-A being closed on Sunday, that people go Saturday is a really busy day and then Monday is a really busy day. But I do hope that people did take that time to just kind of step back, reflect. Yeah. What are you going to say?
Yeah, this is what I'm going to say. Even if people didn't, I recommend that they do. That they literally look at the time that they've spent on social media and redirect some of that time to something that will build their business, build their life, build relationships. And I don't mean on social media, I mean face-to-face relationships or Zoom to Zoom relationship, whatever. Build that kind of relationship. Number one, with yourself. Number two, with others, right? Because it is imperative that we move from the fear of missing out. I mean, because people for 6 hours were like, whatever I'm missing out on. Life still happened in those 6 hours and you got caught up. So that means that you don't necessarily need to have your phone in your hand the whole time, all the time, and even go to, I've known people that went to the restroom, with their phone. I'm just saying. And if y'all do that, please don't flush. Don't put us on mute. Put us on mute. That's too much information. I don't care. Put me on mute. Can you please put me on mute? Anyway, but my point for saying that is a little funny. But at the same time, what I'm saying is fear of missing out is a very real thing. It's conscious and subconscious. Think of your mental well-being and value your time and your energy. And if you could miss it for 6 hours, surely you can put your phone down or do something. Put your phone on timeout. I'm gonna be like my grandson. Your phone needs to go on timeout every now and then. So put your phone on timeout every now and then and live life. Live life in the now. That's what I would encourage people to do.
I love that. And so were those your last tips? Were those your final thoughts?
I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it is imperative that you do diversify. Even though everything is up and running smoothly right now, if you're only using one platform and that is bringing in all your resources, you need to diversify. If you're only using one type of acceptance of resources, if you're only using PayPal, you're only using Square, you're only using whatever, diversify. Because if for whatever reason that system goes down, there's an issue. And then one of the points you made that I want to reiterate is, if nothing else, have a launch page. Have a page that people can get to you and get your information. So get their information. That's your valuable tip. Know how to contact the people that you are servicing, your customers. That's my tips.
I love that, because there are places you can get a free website. You just can't. So for free, you're often not going to be able to tailor have your own domain name, but you might be able to have a free launching site. There are people that have blogs or that end up doing where they can still be talking about their business. They can still have all that information. They can collect people's emails or phone numbers in a way where people are agreeing to get that information. But I think being able to like you said, diversify and not be reliant on just one platform, and remembering like a lot of people like, oh, I am diversified. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but it's like, oh no, those are both owned by the same person. So you need to diversify outside of that, and if possible, have something that you own, like your own website or your own landing page, something that somebody else can't take down. I also encourage people to, when things happen, because remember, we talk about turning crisis into clarity. Check out that book on Amazon. being able to step back in that moment and breathe for a moment before you react. Because there were lots of people reacting. Because some people, if they weren't connected with people, if that was their only way of connecting, they didn't know that the whole site was down. So some people are like, what's wrong with my app? What's wrong with my computer? Deleting, uninstalling and reinstalling, thinking it was them, when nope, it was the entire platform. And so being able to just find some peace and ground yourself before you make a decision, because often that impulsive, because okay, Facebook being down, it's on the scale of things that can go wrong. Even if that's my only way to collect business, I still don't want to make a reactive decision. That's not an immediate life or death situation for me. And so being able to step back, because the brain can't tell time. The brain doesn't understand, oh, it's only, oh, just wait. The brain is like, oh no, like I don't have access to this now, like panic, alarm, like this is horrible. And so I like to teach people how to scale their problems, how to step back and think, okay, how big of a problem is this really? Okay, I do most of my business on Facebook. So this is like a 7 out of 10. Like this is big, but what do I have? Because I think in that crisis, that's why chapter 1 is about finding that peace, looking at what do I have control over? Okay, so I can go to Twitter. I can, if I don't have a Twitter account, I can set one up. I can blast out an email. I can do these other things. And so I think that can really help people in moving forward. And I'm really excited next week to get into social media and mental health. Spoiler alert, that's going to be my next book that we laugh on TikTok. It might be, I guess it's going to be a minute. The audiobook. I'm doing the audiobook now. I'll take a break and then I'll start writing book number 2. But thank you so much for joining us. We love being able to engage and interact. I'm starting to put polls up on Spotify and answering and asking questions where you can directly through the Spotify app, you can let us know what topic you would like us to discuss next. We do this for you. We are coming close to the end of season 1, and then we will be moving into season 2 next year. And so stay tuned for those exact dates and details. We still have a few more episodes coming out, but we really appreciate you and enjoy you. And thanks so much for listening. Hope you have a great day.